Hey everyone, I'm at the barn today. It is absolutely freezing out, but I wanted to get some video of horses, trees, or some birds making a racket out there. And I thought I would get some video of that, and then we could go back into the nice and warm art studio and start drawing some of it. I was going to do some drawing in my car, but it is actually so cold out that I have to get back to the studio and warm up before I start drawing. I was taking a video of the ice and snow blowing off the top of the barn, and my phone just shut off. The battery didn't die, but it is so cold out that my phone turned itself off. And I guess maybe I don't usually try to take video outside with my phone. I know that phones usually turn off if they get overheated. I had no idea if they get too cold, they turn themselves off as well. As soon as I came back into my car to warm up, the phone turned back on. I am just going to use this camera, so I have a different camera other than my phone. I'm going to use this camera to take some beautiful video. Let's get out there. You don't have to be freezing. I'll do that, and then we'll get drawing. Well, I decided to paint instead of draw. By the time I get home from the barn, the sun is starting to set, and I didn't have time to draw. So I grabbed the art journal that I have that I have been working on lately, and I had created this background, this mixed media background, a few days ago. I'm going to link in the description of this video on that video so you could see how I created the background. And I decided to just go with it and create an abstracted horse head or horse face onto this mixed media page. And that's what you're going to see me do here. I really love this background, and I wanted this horse's head to peek through. So I didn't want to paint the entire face. I wanted that background to peek through the drawing, and you're seeing me map it out, and I'm just going to add some white for some shadows and some gold for highlights, and then have this be one piece. I leave the left-hand side as is just because I tried to draw some words on it. I wanted to draw something like surrender or spirit on the left-hand side, but when I did that, it just took away from the drawing. So believe it or not, once you do a mixed media page and you add so many layers on it and you let it dry, if you're just using acrylic paint like I did on it, it's easy to wipe off some fresh acrylic paint if you put it on there. And that's what I did. I just wiped it off. As I paint the mouth and nose area of the horse, I move on from it, but I know that it needs to be more angular, and I also know that maybe it should be thicker overall. So I'm drawing the mane or hair of the horse, and then I go back in and I try to elongate the mouth, add some angles to it versus that rounded cheek area. I also know that I have to make that nostril smaller. So as I go, I'm just playing around and making adjustments without trying to go overboard. Keep in mind that, as I said earlier, if you are making a mistake and you're working on this mixed media background that you had created days before and allowed to dry, as long as that mixed media was done with acrylic paints, or as long as you sealed it, you can go in and wipe off any areas that you don't like. Now, I didn't do that on the face side of it. I did do it when I tried to do some writing, but I really liked how easily that paint came off. And again, I am now trying to adjust the mouth, making it more angular, blur that black paint a bit so it's a little smudged and doesn't look so... I like the smudgy look, especially with this background. So that's what I'm doing there. And I'm just going in, again, small adjustments. It's really hard not to overwork your painting. But if you know that you want that background to pop through, you have to be very mindful to not overwork it. Once I get those bold black marks in there, I want to go over it again with some white to soften it up. So I'm just going in and playing with the eye area and again with that nostril because I know I have to make it a little bit smaller, and just trying again to add some more angles and use that paint to create highlights and to separate just the bold black. I want this horse to blend in with that background that I created days ago so that when you look at the final image, it just looks like that horse is sort of just popping through without it being overwhelming. Now it almost looks like I've lost the entire plot here, but the thing about painting and when you are playing around with paint, there's always this ugly phase where you feel like you've failed, you've ruined it, what are you going to do next? But if you stop and step back and take a few moments to look at it and you keep going, you can pull it back. So I felt like I added too much white, the nose area is too thick. But then I decide, okay, I'm going to go back in and add some thinner lines of black, and I really want to add some gold. But I also know that I have the tendency to go overboard so often. So I'm just trying to pull myself back here. I finish adding some black. You're going to see me add some gold. And at the end, I highlight some more, but this time with oil pastels. Once I have all the main brush strokes in, I grab a much smaller paintbrush and I decide to add some smaller details. And I know I don't want to do too many small details, but I felt like the eye, the nostril, the hair, the mouth, just tiny white details before I go in with the gold paint. I feel like I've done enough. I'm happy with the way everything looks, and I'm grabbing some gold, and I don't want to add too much gold, but I want to sort of merge this side of the painting with the left-hand side. And when I created that background, I added a lot of gold. And so I'm just adding it back to allow this painting to look cohesive by the time I'm finished with it. And here is the finished piece that I'm so happy with. I did add some oil pastels and smudged it a bit just to create a little more of a, like an old look to it. And I just love how it turned out. I want to thank everyone for following along. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Have a great day.